Hello, my name is Mabel Clark, and I'll be doing my movie on Zheng He. This man was an explorer and a fleet commander. He went on 7 major expeditions to explore the world for the Chinese Empire and to establish Chinese trade in new areas. When Zheng He was born, his given name was He. He was born in 1371. His father and grandfather were Muslim traders of the Yuan dynasty. However, when the Ming dynasty took over, Chinese soldiers captured He and took him as a slave to one of the empire's sons, Prince Zhu Dai. When He turned into a slave, he became a eunuch. This means he cannot have children, and his family was taken away from him. He served the prince well and rose in the ranks of the servants. Soon, he was one of the prince's closest advisors. He earned honor, and the prince awarded him by changing his name to Zheng He. After, the prince became the emperor of China as the Yongle Empire. Then, Zheng He became a fleet commander under the name of the emperor. Zheng He commanded a large fleet of ships. His first voyage is estimated to have over 200 ships and nearly 28,000 total of crew. Some of the ships were over 400 feet long and 170 feet wide. They had ships to carry treasure, ships to carry horses and troops, and even special ships to carry fresh water. Zheng He's first voyage lasted from 1405 to 1407. He travelled all the way to Calicut, India, visiting many towns and ports along the way. They traded and made relations at the places they visited. The Chinese also battled pirates and even captured one famous pirate leader and brought him back to China with them. Zheng He would continue to sail on additional missions over the rest of his life. He travelled to many faraway places, this is including going all the way to the African coast and establishing trade relations with over 25 countries. He brought back all sorts of interesting items, such as animals. The type of animals he brought back were giraffes and camels. He also brought back diplomats to have meetings with the emperor. Some people don't see Zheng He as an explorer, but a great diplomat. Here is a video showing their point of view of his life at sea.
Zheng He wasn't an explorer. The Indian Ocean trade routes were already known to him and to other Chinese sailors. He visited Africa, India, and the Middle East, and in a way, his journeys were trade missions, but not in the sense of filling his ships up with stuff to be sold later for higher prices. At the time, China was the leading manufacturer of quality goods in the world, and there wasn't anything they actually needed to import. What they needed was prestige and respect, so that people would continue to see China as the center of the economic universe. So there was a tribute system through which foreign rulers or their ambassadors would come to China and engage in a debasing ritual called the kowtow, wherein they acknowledged the superiority of the Chinese emperor and offered him, or her, but usually him, gifts in exchange for the right to trade with China. The opportunity to humble yourself before the Chinese emperor was so valuable that many a prince was happy to jump on a treasure ship and sail back to China with Zheng He. Also, these tribute missions brought lots of crazy things to China, including exotic animals. From Africa, Zheng He brought back a zoo's worth of rhinos, zebras, and even giraffes. Basically, he was like the medieval Chinese Noah.
This Chinese explorer, Zheng He, died because of an illness occurring on his 7th time of navigating southwest of China. He died in the year of 1433 in Gulai, now Calicut, in India. Zheng He travelled with 200 ships, and Christopher Columbus only travelled with 3 ships. Zheng He's fleet, with 28,000 sailors, was more than half of London's population. Zheng He's ships had 9 masts, and Columbus only had 3 masts. Now, here's a comparison showing how impressive Zheng He's fleets were compared to Christopher Columbus's ships.
Chinese history. Let's go to the thought bubble. Between 1405 and 1433, Zheng He led 7 voyages throughout the Indian Ocean, the expeditions of these so-called treasure ships, and they were huge. Columbus's first voyage consisted of 3 ships. Zheng He led an armada of over 300 with a crew of over 27,000, more than half of London's population at the time. And some of these ships were, well, enormous. The flagships, known as the treasure ships, were over 400 feet long and had 7 or more masts. You see that tiny little ship there in front of the treasure ship? That's a to-scale rendering of Christopher Columbus's flagship, the Santa Maria. Zheng He
When Zheng He traveled around the world, he did no harm to the countries. Zheng He went on these expeditions to improve the Chinese influence, and he established the Chinese trade with the places he went to. Personally, I think that Zheng He should be in the Hall of Fame because it was outstanding that he assembled such a large fleet. He was a great commander to all of his crew members, and Zheng He made sure that he kept 28,000 men alive. This was the biggest fleet until World War II. He must have been a great businessman and a great diplomat to other countries that he sailed to. He improved the Chinese influence through all of these countries. And some people believe that Zheng He discovered America before Columbus.